Sonny Gray struggles again in a lackluster performance against the Reds. How worried should we be about the Cardinals' top pitcher? This is Locked On Cardinals.
You are Locked On Cardinals, your daily St. Louis Cardinals podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Hey there, Cardinals fans. I'm JD Hafford, and I'm a national radio sports anchor, born and raised in the Lou and a lifetime Cardinals fan. And I'm your host for Locked On Cardinals, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, covering your team every day. You can give me a follow on Twitter X at JD Sports Radio, as well as the podcast at LO_Cardinals. I do want to thank those of you who make Locked On Cardinals your first listen every single day. You can find us free and available wherever you get your podcasts. Also on YouTube. If you haven't visited us there yet, I don't know what you're waiting for. We're on YouTube. We're looking good. We've got cool graphics. We have got pictures and all kinds of stuff going on YouTube. Plus, you get to see who the hell it is that's talking to you all the time. So come check us out and like, subscribe, comment. This is a show serving Cardinal Nation and giving the best fans in baseball all of the info about the birds on the bat. Today's episode being brought to you by FanDuel. You can make every moment more as the playoffs wind down. The sports stop sporting like we want them to, but this summer FanDuel is hooking up all customers with a boost or a bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. Visit FanDuel.com to get started. So the Cardinals lose in Cincinnati on Monday night. Another loss to the friggin' Cincinnati Reds, which is annoying. Very, very much annoying, especially for me, because my wife is a Reds fan, so I have to live with this. But they lose on Monday night by a score of 6-1. We talked about the schedule yesterday where, you just don't have a lot of room for error in the month of August because you've got to face the top teams in baseball after you get done with the Reds. You've got the Dodgers, the Brewers, the Twins, the Padres, the Yankees after this series in Cincinnati, which is the team that is below 500 and is a team that you should beat. They are. You should beat them. On paper, you're a better team right now. Just go look at the names and stuff. That's their lineup compared to your lineup. Like they have Ty France in their lineup. Like who are some of these guys? You're like, Will Benson sitting under 200 is in their lineup, and you can't beat them. You had your top pitcher on the mound. You had the day off on Sunday to travel and rest a little bit. You get the Jordan Walker boost. He comes into the locker room, probably kind of fun to help boost your offense, and you still lose. Now, scoring one run isn't going to win you a lot of games. So we'll talk about the offense a little bit later. But the real question is, what in the hell is going on with Sonny Gray? Sonny Gray, what is this? This is something that has been a concern for a lot of fans for a while now. And I've been someone, because I tend to stick to the positive narrative in most situations, that has stuck up for Sonny Gray. I've argued repeatedly with fans that he is worthy of being a number one pitcher on a lot of teams, certainly number one on this Cardinals team. And people get mad when I say things like that. And then I say things like I throw the word ace out there. I didn't say he's an ace of Major League Baseball, but he is the ace of this Cardinals rotation. You look at what you've got before you had Eric Fetty. Sonny Gray was supposed to be your top pitcher, and for the most part, had been that top pitcher. He's your number one guy. The problem is, last couple months, he hasn't exactly pitched like a number one guy as much as you need him to. Few games here and there, and you're like, wow, there he is. And then, poof. Something happens. Again, I'm not trying to put all of the blame on Sonny. This isn't a blame game thing going on here. It's really difficult to score only one run at Great American Ballpark in Cincinnati. It's a tiny place. Fly balls that would normally be outs at a lot of ballparks, very much so at Busch Stadium, are home runs at Great American Ballpark. They land in the first couple of rows. It's a tough place to pitch. So the offense not doing anything on Monday is just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But even if the team had scored 3-4 runs, you still would lose that game because of the way Sonny Gray pitched. And we've seen Sonny Gray struggle a lot over the last couple of months. And if he's not going to pitch like the number one guy in your rotation, then this team is really screwed. Like, you're not going to survive this. His first 2 months, he was outstanding. And a lot of the naysayers kind of shut the hell up when I talked about it. His first 2 months, ERA 2.60, the FIP 2.85, 67 strikeouts and 52 innings. Opponents were hitting just 209 against him. Team was 7-2 in the 9 starts that he made. Everything was wonderful. It was blissful. We were loving the Sonny Gray experience. Since June 1st, though, things have been drastically different. The ERA is at 4.81. The FIP is lower, though. FIP is still at 3.34, which says that, perhaps he's better than the ERA shows you. Now, the strikeouts are still there. He's still getting the punchies. 95 and 78 and 2/3. Opponents are hitting 236 against him, which, that's not awful by any means, but their batting average on balls in play. So when they are hitting the ball, they're getting on. They're hitting 307. But most importantly, the team is only 6-7 in the games that he starts. That can't happen for the St. Louis Cardinals to make the playoffs and be a good team. Now, something that has certainly caught my eye, and I'm sure you've noticed as well, is the amount of home runs that he's given up. Remember, when they signed him, one of the things that stood out was that he kept the ball in the ballpark. It was something I was really excited about because we, the signing of Lance Lynn, watching Miles Michaelis give up blasts all the time, it was nice to say, all right, well, we got a guy who at least is going to keep the ball in the ballpark, right? We got him. He allowed just 8 home runs last year. All year. It's like, there was going to be regression, but I don't think we expected it to be the way it is right now. After Monday night, he's already allowed 17 long flies this year. Career high is 19. So, he's on pace to blast right past that. He's hit the 19 plateau twice, once in 2017 when he pitched for both Oakland and the Yankees, and then in 2021 with the Reds. So, for him to go past his previous record for home runs given up in a year, it's not a great sign. Considering he also pitches his home games at Busch Stadium, which we know is known to swallow up fly balls and have them die at the warning track a lot. We've seen it a ton this year with the Cardinals. So the question is everything really is bad as it seems with Sonny? I know after Monday night, everybody's feeling kind of down in the dumps about him again. The strikeouts, which I mentioned earlier, have been a bright spot. He's currently at an 11.2 strikeouts per 9 clip, which would be a career high for him. He's 7th overall in Major League Baseball in strikeouts, 4th in the National League. So that's not the problem. He's got the swing and miss. Our buddy Josh Jacobs over at RedbirdRanch.com, he dug even a little bit deeper into the numbers and says that compared to last year, when he finished second in the AL Cy Young voting, he actually has a higher chase percentage, whiff percentage, and walk percentage. So he's not putting a lot of guys on. Josh points out that we haven't seen a drop in velocity. That hasn't been an issue. So the arm's healthy. And the only true regression he has to this point is his barrel percentage, which explains why he's given up so many home runs this year. Last year, Gray had an unsustainable 5.2% home run fly ball rate, something we knew would regress in 2024, which I just told you. He says that home run fly ball rate has now skyrocketed this year, although some of that is inflated by 10 of the 17 home runs he has allowed coming in just 3 of his starts. But the ball seems to be flying out of the ballpark against them a lot. Now, Josh does not think that this is a time for Cardinal fans to panic. I'm a little panicked, I'll be honest. But I don't think we should be flipping out where we're like, oh my gosh, we got this scrub. He's not a scrub. He's still a very good pitcher. He just hasn't been the guy that we saw the first couple of months nearly as often since June 1st. Outside of the hammy thing, he's been very healthy. In the grand scheme of things, the contract that he signed is pretty good for what a pitcher like him is giving you, right? Like, I wouldn't think that you would say the Cardinals overpaid for him. I think he's probably right where he deserved to be. And the other thing that's good about Sonny Gray is that you don't have him on this like massive 7-year deal right now where you're really going to start seeing things tail off the later years of his career. You know, it's you've got 3. This is one of them. So 2 years after this. I think something else that's great about Sonny Gray is that He clearly gives a crap about this team, this organization, and you can see it in the interviews. He's as hard as on himself as anybody about his struggles. And he's only been on the team 1 year, but I'm going to go ahead and say I trust Sonny Gray to get things headed back in the right direction. But I'm not looking at this as what happened on Monday as like a blip on the radar. Like, it's happened a lot more times than we need it to be happening. And the voices who keep saying that he shouldn't be your ace or your number one, that a winning ball club shouldn't have Sonny Gray as your number one, those voices are getting louder. And it's hard to argue against it as much anymore. Now, if the Cardinals, in a perfect world, after this season is over, whatever happens, the Cardinals could somehow, some way land a true number one that would be better and pitch ahead of Sonny Gray. And then you would have that person and Gray, and then Fetty, and probably Gibson, and then whatever, and then Michaelis after that. Now we're talking. But that is further on down the road. Not something we really need to get into yet, because we've still got this season to worry about. And we need a better Sonny Gray if the way things are for the Cardinals in the standings are going to improve. So we'll get into the offense next, because that was a very disappointing game on Monday night. Arguably the most boring game I've been to as a Cardinal fan in quite some time. We'll get into it next on Locked On Cardinals. Summer is winding down here in the month of August, but you still got plenty of time to stock up on all of your grilling favorites and earn cash back on every purchase when you use Ibata. So you won't have to choose between burgers or brats or hot dogs or chicken or whatever it is you like to grill. You can get all of it. Ibata is a free app that lets you earn cash back every time you shop, earn on hundreds of items from groceries, which is great, to, of course, beauty supplies, even toys. If you're a parent, how about the toys? The average Ibata user will earn $256 per year. Now, that could cover a lot of things for you, right? The cost of a major portion of your day at the ballpark, maybe part of your flight that you're going on a vacation with here at the end of summer, fancy dinners, things like that. Whatever it is that you need the money for, you can put it towards it. Other apps give you points that don't really amount to much, but with Ibata, you earn cash back that you can withdraw to your bank account. You can put it in PayPal. You can put it on gift cards. Simply add offers in the app, upload your receipt, and voila, the money is yours. And you can save on over 2,400 brands and shop at over 1,000 different retailers, including your favorite grocery stores. You can go to Lowe's. Maybe you're got some projects you're working on. Macy's, Sephora, Best Buy. You like the electronics. Need a new TV for football season. There you go. It's time you join the over 50 million users who use Ibata to earn cash back every time they shop. So right now, Ibata is offering our listeners $5 just for trying Ibata by using the code LOCKEDONMLB when you register. So go to the App Store or Google Play and download the free Ibata app to start earning cash back and use code LOCKEDONMLB. That's Ibata in the Google Play or App Store and use code LOCKEDONMLB. Now, I love sports. I know you love sports too. We've got NFL and college football on the horizon. The Olympics are done. Yay, America. We did it. Dominating once again in the Summer Olympics. But FanDuel, when sports aren't sporting the way you want it to, when things are a little bit slower, FanDuel keeps the sports going whenever you want. Just open up the app and dream up bets anytime you are in the mood. Obviously, MLB pennant chases, wild card races are all in full swing. Tonight, you got Eric Fetty on the hill against Hunter Green for the Cincinnati Reds, who has been outstanding this year. I imagine that Hunter Green will strike out a few guys tonight in this Cardinals lineup. That's what I would bet on. I'd be looking at Hunter Green's strikeouts tonight. That would be the safe bet, in my opinion, that he would probably hit whatever it is that FanDuel's got it at the moment. And this summer, FanDuel is also hooking up all customers with a booster bonus daily. That's right. There's something for everyone every day, all summer long. And all you got to do is head on over to FanDuel.com/LockedOn, and that's the way that you start making the most out of what's left of your summer. Make it more fun. If the Cardinals are going to lose, at least make some money off of it, right? FanDuel, the official sports betting partner of Major League Baseball. Are you watching Fox Sports or ESPN on your TV all day and have to turn it down because they keep shouting? Then make the switch to Locked On Sports Today, a free 24/7 sports streaming channel program for you every day to bring you the biggest stories without all of the screaming. Streaming 24/7 on YouTube or the free Amazon Fire TV channels app, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So Katie Wu at The Athletic wrote a piece about Jordan Walker. And I want to get to this first. Before we talk about how boring the game was. I'll get to that in a little bit. I don't want to continually bog us down with negative stuff. All right. So let's talk about some positive things. Let's talk about Jordan Walker. All right. Jordan Walker got called up yesterday, and it was cool. I mean, it happened like right after I did the show yesterday, and Katie Wu put out an article on The Athletic kind of explaining what things are going to look like with Jordan Walker back on this team again. Now, the first one that we needed to discuss was, what is his playing time going to be like? Because that's what people are worried about. They're like, all right, Jordan Walker's on the team. Are we really going to bench him a lot? What's going to happen to him? Like, shouldn't he be progressing and playing every day? I hear you. I get that. But according to Katie Wu, the Cardinals do plan to platoon Walker. He'll start in right field against left-handed starters and come off the bench in games started by righties. That decision, as she says, might come as a surprise to St. Louis has been adamant, here we are, about prioritizing Walker's development. But with 6 weeks remaining in the regular season, maximizing lineup production takes priority over player development, leading the Cardinals to temporarily deviate from the course. Now, many fans reached out to me in regards to the call-up. A lot of people think that this team is already dead in the water. After watching them on Monday, I can see why you feel that way even more. And they think that the logical thing is to not risk harming his development any further by calling him up and leaving him at AAA, where he was just starting to, get hot and hit that potential that we all see in Jordan Walker. And they considered it a desperate move. A lot of fans were like, this reeks of being desperate. And yeah, it kind of does. Because as Katie Wu points out, you've got 6 weeks left. We're not here to win AAA championships. We're here to win a World Series. And if Jordan Walker can help this team in any way, shape, or form, he needs to be on this team for the final few weeks of the season. This is not going to be like he's up here for 5 months as a bench bat. This is for 6 weeks. And he'll start against lefties. So I see why people are worried about it. I see why you are like, no, this is stupid. You're going to ruin him. Because what if he does struggle at the MLB level again, and they end up ruining him for good? I would hope we don't see that, but it's a risk. It's a risk, but the Cardinals, they need something. They need something against left-handers, and as you saw on Monday night, it's still not clicking. How will Jordan's play affect others? Like how him being in the lineup now, how is that going to affect some other people? Great question. She says, with the Cardinals set to platoon their corner outfielders, expect Brendan Donovan to move to second base against lefties and Alec Burleson to be the power bat off the bench. Burleson kills righties. We know this, but he struggles against lefties, hitting 205. His slash line's 205, 230, 291. Yeah. With just 3 home runs. So as great as Burleson has been this year, he's just not very good against lefties. So might as well let him sit. Like, why torture him? And now that you got Jordan there, that's good. She says Donovan's splits aren't as glaring. He owns a 766 OPS against righties, 638 OPS against lefties, and that his defensive versatility allows for more roster flexibility, so his playing time isn't likely to see too dramatic of a cut. Obviously, he was in there on Monday, and, defensively, wherever Donovan plays, he's better than Alec Burleson, right? So there's not an argument there. That's just the truth. So that makes sense that Brendan Donovan would be in there, even if a left-hander is on the mound. And then finally, talking about lineup construction, Katie says, with how things stand, it appears Marmol has 5 players he views as everyday starters: Paul Goldschmidt, Nolan Arenado, Wilson Contreras, Mason Wynn, and Victor Scott. That leaves 4 spots to rotate in Pham, Walker, Burleson, and Donovan, with Nootbaar, Gorman, Crawford, and Pedro Pages as the reserves. Marmol likes to load up on right-handers when his team faces lefties, which usually ensures a start behind the plate for Pages, while Contreras slots in as the DH. Monday's lineup showed that what will likely be the most common lineup against left-handers. You had Pedro catching, while Pham was in left, Walker in right, and then you had Victor Scott in center. Donovan started at second base, and Contreras was your DH. So that is the effect, the Jordan Walker effect on what's going to go on with the St. Louis Cardinals over the next 6 weeks, barring any other injuries or whatever has to happen there. Like, we're still ways off from Michael Ciani coming back, and even if he does, Victor probably goes back down to AAA. It's not going to affect anybody else. So Jordan Walker, he's here to stay, I think, for the rest of the year. Again, barring something just horrible happening. So let's not even speak that into the universe and just kind of say that hopefully things will get turned around against lefties. We've been waiting all year, so the odds are against us, right? Because they haven't done it all year. But perhaps they get hot. I don't know what else to tell you. But I can tell you this. Last night was one of the most boring games I've been to as a Cardinal fan this year. So I want to get into it. I want to talk about the offense a little bit more. And then we'll do a quick preview of what's going to happen on Tuesday night at Great American Ballpark. All coming up on Locked On Cardinals. Get supplies from the site that's made for the skilled trades, SupplyHouse.com. SupplyHouse.com is a reliable way to order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical products online. Their easy-to-use website is packed with helpful resources and the latest product info to help you get the job done right. You can shop a complete inventory of over 200,000 parts from over 400 top brands, and you get your order delivered right to your door. You get fast shipping, coast to coast, and if you need help with an order, which things happen, right? You can get the expert support and industry-leading service that they provide from the friendliest folks in the business, and you get to talk to a real person every time. Pros in the skilled trades can get a competitive edge as well by joining SupplyHouse.com's free Trademaster program. Every Trademaster gets access to a dedicated phone line, you get free shipping, and you get discounts on every single order. So not a lot of negatives going on here, is there? So join the thousands of trade pros already benefiting from their free membership at supplyhouse.com/TM and order plumbing, HVAC, and electrical supplies from anywhere with just a few clicks at supplyhouse.com. Thank you for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen today. For your second listen, enjoy the Locked On MLB podcast hosted by Paul Sullivan, a.k.a. Sully, who is here daily to provide national expertise and his trademark humor. Prepare for the Fall Classic with Sully, who has it all covered every single day on Locked On MLB, available on YouTube or wherever you get your podcasts, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. So I was at Great American Ballpark on Monday night, and I was very excited to see Jordan Walker there. We had our dog with us, so we got to do the dog parade before the game, which was fun. So you get to get on the field. I saw Sonny warming up a little bit. I went live on YouTube for the first time. I had never done it before, so I guess it came out okay. People were on there. People were responding. So you can see that video on YouTube in the video section as we make our way around the ballpark. We ran into a family friend of ours, and Annie Sabo, which is Chris Sabo's daughter. She works for Bally Sports, Ohio. And so, we got to talk to her for a little bit, but so many cool dogs, nice walking around, seeing the fans and stuff. So that was neat. And that was about the most exciting this game got on Monday. It was one of the most boring games I've seen this team play live in person. And I've been to some tough ones this year. I saw them get knocked around by the Reds at Busch Stadium on that scorcher of a day where I had the second row down the first base side, which, by the way, at Busch Stadium down there, and it was before you get to like where the ball boy and stuff is, I had no idea that when you get down that close that the field curves. It's for drainage purposes, obviously, but it's weird because you're sitting and you're actually lower than the bases. So that was weird. I didn't really like that seat at all. But it was so hot anyway. A lot of us were inside most of the time, but the Cardinals sucked that day. That was the other day that Sonny got beat up on by the Reds at Busch Stadium. So that wasn't a lot of fun to watch. Saw the 1-0 win over the Reds at Busch the previous night before in that same series, but a very dull game because there was no offense whatsoever. Part of it was a little exciting because it was one of those games where it could go either way. Anything could happen. If something did, it could, swing the game in a different direction. But 1-0, not a whole lot of fun to watch. Waited through a 2-hour rain delay on my grandma's 99th birthday to watch them get pulverized by the Nationals in July. That sucked. I have seen a couple of wins. It's not that I lose every time I go. So I don't think I'm a bad luck charm. But Monday night, despite having a day off on Sunday, getting Jordan Walker in the lineup, which was very exciting, the boys came out flat again. And they continue to have these issues against left-handers, and it's unbelievable. I wish I knew the answers to fix this, but it is so bizarre to see a lineup that's got all of these capable right-handed hitters in it, not able to do things against lefties. You know, Contreras or Renato and Goldschmidt in their careers have beat the hell out of left-handed pitchers, and they're just not doing it this year. They weren't completely worthless. Goldie had a couple of hits. Contreras had one, scored the only run. Arenado had the RBI single. But you look at other guys in the lineup. Mason Wynn, 0 for 4. He's only hitting 243 against lefties compared to 294 against the righties. Tommy Pham, brought in to be able to hit the lefties, has cooled off since, the hot start, since getting traded over. He's 0 for 3. He did walk in this one. Jordan Walker had an outstanding at bat. His first at bat, I was really excited for him. All right. First off, he looks like he's 6'8" now. Like, he looks like he's grown even more. A monster out there. I was out in the right field area, so we got to see him up close and personal. But he had an outstanding first at bat, was behind 0-2, worked it all the way back, got the walk before Pedro Pages hit it into the double play, which really sucked the life out of the offense, because that was the chance right there to really do some damage and really put the Reds behind the 8 ball, and they just didn't do it. Double play ball, boom, over. But Walker was 0 for 3 after that. Pages had the single against Abbott later on in the game, but the double play ball obviously was a killer in that crucial spot. And then your two lefties, 0 for on the night, and Brendan Donovan and Victor Scott. And it's just truly remarkable how bad they are against lefties. Only the Reds, the Marlins, the White Sox, and the Mariners have worse batting averages against lefties this season. Seattle has been a terrible offensive team. They got great pitching, which is why they are where they are in the standings. The Cardinals, they get hits, but they don't do any damage. Like, they get singles, just singles all the time. They never do any damage against the lefties. They're third to last in OPS, and only the Blue Jays, Nationals, White Sox, and Marlins have worse slugging against lefties in the league. Like, that's where they are. Those aren't playoff teams. And right now, neither are the Cardinals. Then you get Ollie getting thrown out later on for arguing balls and strikes, but even that didn't work, because immediately Sonny gives up the 3-run jack to Spencer Steer, his second of the game. And that was really all she wrote. It was lifeless. It was dull. It was boring. And it's something that continues to be an issue for me, where these guys just look dead on their feet. Like, they look like they're 10 games out of it instead of being 2.5 back in the wild card. And of course, if you have any hopes of coming back in the division, you have to pretty much win every single time the Brewers lose. The Brewers have now lost 2 in a row. Cardinals lose 2 in a row. They are never going to make up any ground like this, and are about to dive headfirst into that murderer's row of teams here at the end of August, where they could get buried for good. And I just wish I saw a sense of urgency from this team. And last night, I felt nothing whatsoever. Even Ollie getting tossed, and I don't know what it was like on TV, but at the game, even then, which usually it gets, a ruckus from the crowd, like, yeah, get him out of here, because, you're at an away stadium. It was hardly anything happened. Like, even the Reds fans were bored of what the Cardinals put out there last night. I'm at the game with a bunch of them. There was a ton of us hanging out, and they even commented how defeated and slow the Cardinals looked. They're like, dude, you wouldn't expect it considering where they are in the standings. I'm like, I know. Coming off an off day. It's not like they were out west. The Reds had to play on Sunday. That was supposed to be the tired team, not the Cardinals. And it's not like the Cardinals flew in from L.A. The flight from St. Louis is like 40 minutes. So I don't know. It's extremely frustrating. But as we've said before, what did we really expect from this team at the beginning of the year? You remember my prediction? I said 84 wins. Basically an average record for an average team. And they're proving me right. They're proving all of us right, who said that they didn't do enough in the offseason to be one of the top teams, to go after a division title. And so far, we're all right, unless they catch fire. And what about this team has shown you that they're capable of catching fire? Not much. Eric Fetty versus Hunter Green tonight. They do hit righties better. Yay, positive. Green is really good. I hope they surprise us tonight. I hope something happens to light a fire under their butts tonight and they come out hacking. We'll see. Thanks for making Locked On Cardinals your first listen every day. If you haven't already, please do me a solid. Give me a follow on Twitter, X at @LO_Cardinals and at JD Sports Radio. Like, subscribe on YouTube, and help our channel and love for the Cardinals grow. You guys are the best fans of baseball for a reason. I'll see you next time, hopefully with better news on Locked On Cardinals.